Hello, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. This is for everyone, but it's also especially for Keith. So, this is my primary book of artwork by Ben Shahn, Common Man, Mythic Vision. And then this is a book that I highly recommend to everyone, The Shape of Content. It's several lectures that Ben Shahn gave, I believe, to students at Harvard University. It's, what did I write here? Yep, resonates is what I wrote in the margin. Anyway, it's a great book. I have marked it up, as I do all my books. So, I'm never going to be able to resell my books, and my children will never be able to resell them when I die. But you know what? Hopefully someone will keep them because they're like a living diary, really, all of my books. You can read my thoughts and see how I've developed over time. That aside, here's Common Man, Mythic Vision. I just wanted to note a few things in this book. Let me move this out of the way. Let's see. I was hoping to find the portrait of Sacco and Vanzetti. It's one of my favorites and probably one that, Shahn's really famous for. I don't remember when I first discovered Ben Shahn's work. I don't know if I was already an art student in Detroit or not. I just remember whenever I first saw Shahn's work that I just immediately fell in love. Probably in part because, no, I would say mostly because of the expression. But also his use of color, of course the subject matter. It was clear that he wasn't just dealing with historical subject matter, but that he was really making a socialist statement, and that he really was also operating from his heart. So I marked these. I don't know if we can see them very clearly, and I apologize, people, if you can't. Simply because one of the things is perspective, right? All of his figures are kind of slightly distorted. They're either sort of squashed a little bit or big heads, little bodies. And there's something about the big head, little body, even if it's just because you're looking down on someone, right? That reminds me of childhood when we're all head and we're walking through space, not so much with our legs, but head first. And so these two portraits on the right page, just the expression and the feeling, especially the first one in the upper left, the feeling of smallness, of destitution and need, which has so much to do not only with the way that he attends to the face, but also with the perspective. And his hands, I mean, here we have a man in the lower right, and the hand is really so much bigger than it would be proportionally. And just his lines, how strong his lines are. There's just such a deep expression of suffering and grief that reminds me a bit of Keta Kollwitz, who I already was, or I should say, of whom I already was a big fan, even prior to seeing Shahn's work. So that might have also been a point of resonance and connection for me. Let's see what else I've marked here. I kind of move. I've always loved this one. Europa. Again, apologies if it's not very clear, but those of you who are looking that aren't familiar with Shahn's work, go online and search for his work online. So this one's Europa. I believe it's titled Europa. And I'm not entirely sure. I'm just assuming it's titled Europa. Let's see what else. I know I've marked the colored plates. Oh, this one is a favorite. And the story behind it, I believe, well, this one's called Allegory. Does he have the 4 children? And it has this one. I thought he was commissioned to do this. I'm not entirely sure about that. But I know that this was done in response to, I believe it was a tenement house fire in Chicago. And so this is representative of that. It's a favorite. Okay, and then here's that kind of in black and white. I don't know if you can see. Again, apologies. So that's, oh, you know, and then just how beautiful is that, right? And again, there's an illustrative quality to his work. You know, his use of line, but also just the way that he blocks out color. It's just so expressive. And it doesn't require much. I don't mean in terms of vision or skill. I just mean that we don't have, you know, he's not caught up in any sort of, in the minutia. It's not like little tiny, you know, paint strokes or lots of detail. It's big expression. You know, blocks of color, movement, really dynamic in his movement and in his line, right? Just love it, love it. Okay. And I think we get, so these are the color plates. So let's just move. I can't really see titles from where I'm looking. I'm behind this cell phone camera, so. Okay. I like both of these. I'm not like a huge fan of either, but I like both. You can see sort of the distortion in the way that the figures are rendered. This one on the right, it's among my favorites. It is, well, how befitting. It is titled Italian Landscapes. The one on the left, this must be Shahn right here. It's titled Portrait of Myself When I Was Young, painted in 1943. And these two, so this is that Europa one that I was pointing out earlier. So these two are a couple of favorites. On the right, you know, in large part because, well, I like the coldness of the landscape. I love the blue and then the shock of red. Yeah, the red stairway. It's just so ominous and yet childlike and cheerful whenever we're working with primary colors. There's a playfulness. Oh, and then these, again, couple of favorites. Ooh, I wish I could get the colors on the left side to pop a little bit more, but. And the one on the right, it's like someone stranded on a beach. It's the Pacific landscape. There's something about this on the right that reminds me a little bit of Anselm Kiefer's fields, the railroad tracks, even his sunflowers. Yeah. You know, especially when he has just a body sort of lying right in a field of sunflowers, or that sort of abandonment. But I'm not sure what else. Maybe if I thought about it, I would figure it out. Okay. Well, let's see what else, and then I will. Oh, so I marked these two. So the City of Dreadful Night on the left. Can we see that? I don't know. And then Harpy on the right. And of course, Harpy is very iconic, you know, quite the mythical figure. But both of these, to me, also remind me of Allegory, the one he did of the children who were killed in the fire. So, Such bold use of color. You know, and I love his use of red. So much red. Here we go again. I think we saw the one on the right, I think, but not the one on the left. Right? Look at, kind of a bit like outsider art. It's got that quote-unquote primitive sort of approach with the line and the form. Same with, you know, the one on the right. And the one on the right is Helix and Crystal, painted in 1957. I really wish that I had found the Sacco and Vanzetti. Oh, and then look at all this yellow. Wow. Is it yellow? It's probably ochre. One of my favorite colors. All right, so that's it. Just wanted to share some Shahn. Ciao.